Now at 10, we are tracking our next winter storm. I'm going to break this down for you.
Plus, a Southeast Kansas man is in custody after threatening President Joe Biden. And Bourbon County is getting a new hospital after being without one since 2018.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Ice and snow are coming to the four states. This is KOAM News at 10. Doug Heddy joins us with a first look at the weather.
Yeah, thankfully we had a great Monday for us today. We had sunshine, temperatures. Look at this. Can you believe we're even talking about ice and snow when we made it up to 68 for a high today? Not too far from the record. We started at 30 during the morning hours, but winter storm watch. And I expect these to go to warnings tomorrow. The National Weather Service will most likely upgrade these to winter storm warnings, and then some of us winter weather advisories. But this will start tomorrow at about midnight. Until then, we're just dealing with rain increasing tomorrow. We go to ice tomorrow night into Wednesday, and then late Wednesday night, we go to snow. And then this tapers off by the time we head into Thursday. But look at our temps right now. We're sitting into the mid 50s across the region. We'll only drop back to about 51. Rain increases through the day. We warm into the upper 50s, and then you'll feel a big switch coming in late in the day. Of course, I'm going to break this down for you. I've actually upped amounts a little bit. We'll talk about that here in just a bit.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Doc. An Independence, Kansas man is in custody in Maryland charged with threatening President Biden. According to a court filing, Scott Merriman made threats to the president in several forms, including a phone call to the White House operator, as well as Facebook posts that are laced with biblical imagery and references to the end times. The filing says in a telephone interview with a U.S. Secret Service agent, Merriman said that God told him to go to Washington to, quote, lop the head of the serpent in the heart of the nation. In a Facebook post, Merriman said, quote, I believe Joe Biden is the Antichrist now, and he will suffer a fatal head wound. I'll deal that blow in Christ's name, end quote. The former mayor pro tem of Purcell, Missouri, admits to stealing from the city and avoids jail. In a deal with prosecutors, Nancy Wilson pleads guilty to misdemeanor stealing and gets 2 years unsupervised probation. Authorities had originally charged Wilson with felony stealing for writing checks from the city and depositing them in her own bank account in March and April of last year. She has to repay more than $2,500 to the city. People in Bourbon County, Kansas will again have access to a local hospital. Representatives from Noble Health and the county today announced they're opening the Bourbon County Community Hospital. The hospital will be in the building of the old Mercy Hospital, Fort Scott, that closed in 2018. Officials say a design firm is working on restoring the building, which will take several months. The hospital is located off of Highway 69 on the south side of Fort Scott. Officials with the Joplin School District announced plans to begin work on a new 5-year strategic plan for the district. The company Opinion Research Specialists out of Springfield is collecting input about what community members would like to see. That input comes in the form of interviews with students, graduates, teachers, and parents, as well as comments from people through an online program.
The thing that is really on everybody's mind right now is kind of that mental health component that has been impacted by COVID. That means, the stress that we've all been under the last few years is showing up in various forms. And I think there is really an acute awareness that that's something that needs to be taken in consideration.
Officials say the final draft of the strategic plan will be presented to the school board in April or May. A new spinoff of the Omicron coronavirus variant is catching some attention as it's become the dominant cause of COVID-19 in some parts of the world. But top U.S. health officials say there's no need to panic over the lineage. Mandy Gaither explains.
It's called BA2, a subvariant of Omicron, first detected in mid-November, now identified in at least 49 countries, including the U.S.
We're keeping a very close eye on it. Looks a bit more transmissible but not necessarily more severe.
Like the more familiar version of Omicron, BA2 has a large number of changes, about 20 concentrated in the spike protein, the part of the virus that's targeted by vaccines.
Does it evade our immune system? Does it evade the immunity that we've acquired from Omicron infection or the vaccines? Most of the evidence so far, and it's preliminary, suggests it doesn't.
A report from the UK suggests current vaccines protect about as well against this subvariant as it does the original Omicron variant, with better protection against symptoms, an average of about 70% 2 weeks after a booster.
The only thing I feel pretty confident about is that we'll have more variants. We'll have future variants. So let's begin to prepare.
Health experts say no matter what the future throws at us, we now have the tools we need to be ready, including COVID-19 testing, widespread masking, and the best protection against the virus, vaccination, and boosters.
So whenever the next variant hits, we're going to be ready. We won't have to shut down schools. We won't have to shut down our lives. We'll manage our way through it.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
In the U.S., roughly 100 cases caused by BA2 have been reported from at least 20 states, according to a sequence sharing website. The FDA has fully approved Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine. It's been given to adults under emergency use authorization up until now. The approval makes it the second such vaccine alongside Pfizer's to receive the FDA's nod. Both vaccines are what are considered mRNA vaccinations. A key difference is Moderna has never been approved or authorized for people under 18 years old. Moderna says the clinical trial for its experimental HIV vaccine is underway using technology from its COVID-19 vaccine. The pharmaceutical company says participants in phase 1 of the trial have been vaccinated. The trial follows 56 people who tested negative for the virus that causes AIDS and studies if the vaccine is safe and effective. Moderna says the experimental doses utilize the company's mRNA technology. Researchers hope it can deliver HIV-specific antigens to the body that will induce a positive immune response. The company says the vaccine appeared to work in 97% of participants in last year's proof of concept trial. Still ahead, the Us and Russia spar over Ukraine at the UN. And another North Korean missile test increases tensions in that region.
Reward yourself. Upgrade.
At the United Nations today, Russia and the U.S. clashed publicly over what's happening both inside and around the borders of Ukraine. The former Soviet state is surrounded by about 100,000 Russian troops. Inside, U.S. forces are helping train Ukrainians to defend themselves from a possible invasion. Skylar Henry reports from Washington.
A show of force from Russian troops in the air, by sea, and on the ground. Around Ukraine, U.S. officials say Russia has positioned an estimated 100,000 troops. The threat of a possible Russian invasion has compelled thousands of Ukrainians to join local defense units. Ukraine's military also released these photos of U.S. instructors training Ukrainian soldiers to wield missile launchers. President Biden today warned Russia it will face swift and severe consequences should it attack.
With Russia's continuing its buildup of its forces around Ukraine, we are ready no matter what happens.
Russia's Vladimir Putin has denied any interest in invading, and during a meeting of the UN Security Council, Russia's UN ambassador blamed the U.S. for provoking escalation.
We fully understand that the desire of our American colleagues to whip up hysterics.
The U.S. ambassador to the UN warned of horrific consequences should Russia invade.
This is the largest, hear me clearly, mobilization of troops in Europe in decades.
U.S. officials say there is new evidence that Russia intends to expand its presence to more than 30,000 troops near the Belarus border. NATO's Secretary General warns Russia may use joint training exercises with Belarus, set to begin in 10 days, as a disguise to attack. And CBS News has learned the Pentagon is close to announcing it will move U.S. troops based in Europe closer to the front lines with Russia. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Russia today delivered a written response to a U.S. proposal aimed at lowering tensions. That'll likely be one of the topics discussed when U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the Russian Foreign Minister speak tomorrow. Tensions rose along the Pacific Rim this weekend when North Korea launched a missile capable of hitting U.S. military bases in the region. The North released still photos of the launch. The Biden administration says it remains committed to making sure North Korea does not become a nuclear nation and says it's willing to hold talks with the North over its ballistic missile and nuclear programs. Later, Pittsburgh High School will begin the search for a new head football coach. We're going to hear why the Purple Dragons coach is stepping down.
Plus, we're going to break down our rain, ice, sleet, and snow chances coming up next.
We're here to help.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a nice day for us today as we pushed 70 during the afternoon. We have partly sunny skies, but we do have a winter storm watch in effect, and this will go into effect tomorrow night, and most likely these will be upgraded to winter storm warnings probably tomorrow morning or so. Trying to wait just a little bit, of course, to get the certainty of this situation as we get a little bit closer to the storm system. Looks great. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Look at these highs. We were in the upper 60s to near 70 during the afternoon. We've dropped off. It's not bad. Still, most of us are sitting into the mid 50s, and we'll only bottom out right around 50 a little bit later on tonight. 7th range line, currently outside 56, south winds 15, humidity is at about 53%, and we are seeing the clouds starting to increase. This is going to be the case as we go through the overnight hours. Clouds thickening up across the region, so mostly cloudy skies by morning. All right, if we expand here, you can see this weak little system across parts of Texas. It's this moisture that will head north and combine with this system across the northern parts of the plains, and that's where our moisture will start to increase as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow. All right, let's break this down. Let's go through tonight into tomorrow morning. Cloudy skies hanging out near 50. As we go through the morning hours, clouds thicken and we start to get showers popping up, especially along and north of I-44. Watch the Arctic front. So we're looking at noon. As we go through the afternoon, it slams south. Rain increases. We drop into the 40s by late afternoon. Day planner for you, 51 in the morning, 55 by noon. A high of 57 at about 3, and then we'll tumble. Northerly winds start to kick in. It's going to be breezy too, 5 to 15 gusts higher than that. As we go through the overnight hours tomorrow night, we'll stop at midnight. We're all into the 30s. We'll have freezing rain really from Pittsburgh north. And then once you get north of Fort Scott, already snow starts to kick in. Let's move to 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Everybody now into the 20s, so most of the metro into sleet. So we only get a few hours of freezing rain, which is good. Then we go over to sleet, but sleet really compacts on the roadways and it's hard to really get it off. Snow in our northern counties. As we go through Wednesday morning, a little bit of a break. We just drop off to light snow showers or light little pellets of sleet, but a little bit of a break. As we work into Wednesday afternoon and evening, here it comes again. Heavy snow, especially along the I-44 corridor, where we should see 1 to 2 inches per hour for probably 2 or 3, 4 hours. Moderate to heavy snow continues. Here's midnight, Wednesday night, moderate to heavy snow into Thursday morning. Then it tapers off. Then for the rest of the day on Thursday, we go to just light flurries and light snow showers. All right, ice amounts for us first. 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. So when I say ice, I'm talking about freezing rain. Anything over 1/4 of an inch you do not want, because that's when we start to get issues on power lines and trees. I think most of us stay just below 1/4 of an inch because we're going to switch to sleet pretty quickly. Sleet and snow amounts, most of us 5 to 10 inches. I lean a little bit on the higher side. Fort Scott, Nevada, Stockton Lake, Central Missouri, 9 to 13. A little bit more sleet in our southern county, so I'll keep it at about 5 to 8 inches. But if you want to see the timing, you can see we stay all rain tomorrow. We go ice tomorrow night, and then late Wednesday, most of us go snow. Then it tapers off on Thursday. We haven't even talked about the cold temperatures too. We drop into the 20s on Wednesday, down to 14 Wednesday night. Only 21 on Thursday, down to 7 Thursday night. We don't even get above freezing until Saturday afternoon.
Freezing rain, sleet, snow, and by the way, single-digit temperatures.
Yeah.
Something
Fun.
for everybody, I guess. Thanks, Doug. The Joplin Area Beekeeping Association today taught some beginner beekeepers the basics of the trade. The group hosted a class to help beginners learn things like the ins and outs of the hive, the real job of the queen, and proper clothing and tools for beekeeping. Organizers say it's a great chance to learn about the excitement of getting to know bees.
I think just having the opportunity to work outside. So for my husband and I, this is a job that we get to do together. We get the opportunity to be outdoors, to really feel a connection with nature and to really better understand the insects that we're working with. And it's just really, it's a lot of fun.
Beekeepers Association is hosting these classes every Monday through the month of February at the Joplin Greenhouse and Garden Center. Coming up in sports, Pittsburgh High School will have a new head football coach this fall. And it's opening night for the Seneca girls basketball tournament. Jacob Leonard joins us with that and more next.
Doug Hetty has it's more than a service, it's our ministry.
Pittsburgh High School will have a new head football coach when next season rolls around. Tom Nicholson announced his resignation today as the leader of the Purple Dragons football program. And Nicholson spent 21 years at Pittsburgh High School, including the last 11 as head coach. In those 11 years, he led the Purple Dragons to a 71-36 overall record. They were 6-4 last fall, won a playoff game for the fourth time in 5 years. And Nicholson says it was a difficult decision, and after 21 years, it'd be a little different not being on the sideline this fall.
It'll definitely be new. I've never not coached since the time I graduated high school. I've done this since I was 18. Definitely wasn't an easy decision. Pittsburgh's home. Our family loves it here. My kids go here, but as far as from a personal and professional standpoint, being a head coach, it's an all-consuming job. And it's something I've loved every minute of, but after 21 years, you know, it's 10 as an assistant and 11 as a head coach. It can wear on you, and I just feel like our kids deserve somebody who can commit every ounce of energy to them, and I just wasn't sure I could give that to them anymore like they need and deserve. So I thought this was the best time for me and my family to step away, and for the program to bring a new voice in.
The Carl Junction girls are 14-5 overall this season and are currently ranked 6th in the state in Class 5. CJ has won 3 games in a row after getting a road win at Glendale last Thursday. The Bulldogs are back home tonight, trying to push their winning streak to 4 against COC rival Neosho. Now off the steal, Destiny Berge, look at this. Only needs one hand to finish on the other end. And Berge and Hallie Shorter were on fire early. Shorter, it's a pair of threes from the left side. She scores 6 in the first. Back to Berge, nice step and scoop here. 9 in the first for Berge, she finishes with 13. Second quarter, Becklin Garrett, 3 for Neosho. That's the first bucket of the game for the Wildcats. Garrett gets 12, but it's 30-9 at the break. Then in the second half, Kylie Scott finishes. She gets 9, Chloe Berg scores 10. It was all CJ. Bulldogs win big, 53-28. Well, tonight is the opening night of the Seneca girls basketball tournament. There are 2 games on the schedule tonight, beginning with McDonald County taking on Purdy. And the Mustangs trying to bounce back and avoid a 3-game losing streak after falling to rival Neosho last time out. The Mustangs waste no time getting going. It's Samara Smith, open in the corner for 3. Smith, nice night. She finishes with 21 points. In McDonald County in transition, now it's Anna Clarkson, giving it up to Carly Cooper. Mustangs start to run away with it. Then in the third quarter, Reagan Myrick dribbles, eventually finds the open space, gets to the rim and scores. McDonald County rolls tonight 64-14. They're back in action Friday in Seneca facing Aurora. The other game tonight, pair of Big 8 teams. Tournament host Seneca facing Monette. Here in the first, Aaliyah Grosjean comes up with the turnover for Seneca. Nobody steps up, so she pulls up and hits the 3. More from her in just a moment. Now a few minutes later, Samara Mittag finding the open spot. Takes the open 3. Seneca jumps out to a quick 24-2 lead. Staying on this end of the floor, Zoe Dotson
Jumper goes down. Indians, like McDonald County before him tonight, starting to pull away quickly. But as promised, we're going back to Aaliyah Grotjohn. She gets through traffic and finishes. Grotjohn leads Seneca with 26 points. Indians roll by Monette tonight, 66-32. Missouri Southern freshman Lacey Stokes has been named the MIAA Women's Basketball Player of the Week. Stokes helped the Lions go 2-0 last week, posting 16.5 points, 8.5 assists, and 5 rebounds per game against Rogers State and Northeastern State. The Mount Vernon product leads the league in assists and steals. It's the second time this season she's earned the weekly honor. The Kansas City Chiefs fell short of their third straight Super Bowl appearance on Sunday. Chiefs fell to the Cincinnati Bengals 27-24 in overtime last night in the AFC Championship game. Now, they dominated the first half, but the second half, it's kind of a different story. They were up 21-10 at halftime, but the Bengals outscored them 17-3 in the second half and overtime to knock Kansas City out. And after a near-perfect first half, Patrick Mahomes had a rough time the rest of the way. In the second half and overtime, he was just 8 for 18 for 55 yards, 2 interceptions, 4 sacks, and no touchdowns.
There's a few misreads here and there. There was guys that were open, and I didn't hit at the right time, or I passed up on a something shorter. That I went for something. I wanted to get something deeper down the field. And when you're playing a good team and you don't hit what's there, and you try to get a little bit more than what's necessary, you kind of bite you in the butt, I guess you would say. I mean, it's something that we were playing so well in the first half. In the second half, we were just off a tick, and that's all it takes to lose a football game.
And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
When it goes around,
Return to Joplin.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Sergeant Michael Spear served in the U.S. Marine Corps. He's from Redfield, Kansas. And we are proud to salute Sergeant Michael Spear, tonight's four-state hero. Crowder College is kicking off the new semester with a game night. Rough Rider Esports and Crowder College Project Now hosted the Press Start Game Night. It featured pizza, drinks, and some popular games. The event was also a chance for students to get information about the esports team and scholarship opportunities. If you haven't downloaded the weather app yet, you should do it now because we have some nasty weather coming in and people need to stay on top of it.
That is a good way to stay on top of it. Tomorrow, rain increases through the day. It's going to be light rain, but our temperatures really drop during the evening. We start to get freezing rain tomorrow night, then sleet on Wednesday over to snow and bitterly cold temperatures.
Final sports notes.
I'm going to give a shout out to the Frontenac girls basketball team. They go on the road and hand St. Paul their first loss of the season tonight, 65-50.
Wow. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show starts at 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.
Salon service is provided by the Wild Side.